The 100-Year Shift, How America's Political Parties Swapped Sides. You've probably heard this before. Democrats were the party of slavery, Republicans freed the slaves. Both of those are technically true and also seriously misleading because what actually happened wasn't a sudden switch. It was a slow, messy 100-year shift where voters, ideas, and regions gradually realigned. Hi, I'm Mark. This is Marxisms. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the comments. To understand today's political divide, you have to go all the way back to the beginning, during the presidency of George Washington. The country didn't even have political parties yet, and many of the founders warned against them. But disagreements came fast. On one side, Alexander Hamilton pushed for a strong federal government, national banking, and industrial growth. On the other, James Madison, who later aligned with Thomas Jefferson, who was in Paris at the time, argued for states' rights and an agrarian society. These weren't parties yet, just factions. But over time, they hardened into the first party system. And more importantly, they established the core debate that still defines American politics. How powerful should the federal government be? That question never goes away, it just gets reshuffled. By the 1820s, something closer to modern parties begin to form. The Democratic Party emerges under Andrew Jackson. Jackson presents himself as a voice of the common man, anti elite, populist, and skeptical of central government. But his support was strongest in the South, and it was tied to a system built on slavery. Opposing him were the Whigs, who favored industry, infrastructure, and a strong role for Congress. Still not today's parties, but the lines are getting closer. Then comes the 1850s and everything changes. The Republican Party is formed, largely to oppose the expansion of slavery. Eventually led by Abraham Lincoln, Republicans stood for federal authority, economic modernization, and the stopping of slavery's spread. Meanwhile, Democrats, especially in the South, defended states' rights and slavery. During the American Civil War, Republicans led the Union, and the Southern Democrats aligned with the Confederacy. At this point, the roles almost looked reversed compared to today. Republicans were the party of federal power and reform. Democrats were the party of limited federal government and Southern interests. After the war, Republicans dominated national politics and pushed Reconstruction. But eventually in the South, Democrats gained control and held it. For decades, the South became what was known as the Solid South, overwhelmingly Democratic and enforcing segregation through Jim Crow laws. So now the map looked like this. Republicans in the North favored industry, federal power. Democrats in the South favored agriculture and segregation. Now, let's be clear, every state had Jim Crow laws. Every state except, I believe, Hawaii. Anyway, that arrangement held for generations. Then the 1930s hit, and another big shift begins. Under Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Democrats transform into the party of big government programs, labor protections, and economic relief. The New Deal built a massive coalition, working class voters, immigrants, and increasingly black voters in the North. But there was a problem. Southern Democrats were still committed to segregation, so now the party had built in contradictions, and that tension finally breaks in the mid 1900s. And in 1948, it breaks. Harry S. Truman pushes civil rights and desegregates the military. Southern Democrats walk out. They form the States' Rights Democratic Party, also known as the Dixiecrats. They run Strom Thurmond for president. Their platform is simple: preserve segregation. Strom Thurmond and the rest of the Dixiecrats go on to become Republicans, by the way. I just want to mention that. By the 1960s, the federal government forces the issue. Lyndon B. Johnson signs the Civil Rights Act, then the Voting Rights Act. Now the line is clear, no middle ground. Many white Southern Democrats begin to leave, some immediately, others over time, but they move, and Republicans see the opening. Richard Nixon appeals to states' rights and law and order. Later, Ronald Reagan reinforces it with the same message. Different tone, not overnight, but deliberate. White Southern voters move towards the Republican Party. Black voters align strongly with Democrats, and the South gradually flips from blue to red. By the time of Ronald Reagan, the transformation is mostly complete. Now the alignment looks familiar. Democrats are the party of civil rights and federal programs. Republicans are the party of conservatism and limited government. Same party names, completely different coalitions. So when someone says, Democrats were the racist party, so they still are, they're skipping the most important part of the story. The voters changed, the regions changed, the priorities changed. The names didn't. The party switch wasn't a single moment, it was a slow alignment driven by civil rights, federal power, and regional identity. And it took over a century. If you want to understand American politics today, you can't just follow the party names. You have to follow the people. So it's going to be interesting to see the people in the comments who don't know their history and they're going to completely disagree with this. Bring it on. Anyway, this is it for Marxisms today. Please like and subscribe. Check out these videos or a video. I don't know if I'm going to do two or one. We'll have to see. But have a good day.